This is how espresso is meant to be consumed. GameStop has been taking the internet by storm lately, with its shares rising almost 2000% over a period of less than 2 weeks. Why is this happening, and why it is that you should be paying attention? Hi guys, welcome back for another video. My name is Fabio Palvelli. So nice to see you again. How are you? Everything okay? Now this is I would say, funny story of how some amateur Reddit investors managed to stick it to the big guys of Wall Street, and it's an amazing story. Please do not consider this as being any sort of financial advice. This is not what this video is. Basically, to understand what has happened, you need to understand what short selling is. Now, say that GameStop has shares for the price of $10. If the company is doing good and it's making money, the price of that share will likely rise. And if you own that share, you bought it at say $10 and you sell it at $20, then you have made a $10 profit. That's simple. Short selling is a little bit more complex. Say that I believe that GameStop is going to fail, and I'm an investor or I'm a hedge fund. I can then borrow a share from someone who owns it by paying a small fee, and when I sell it and I no longer have it, I have money in my pocket. I no longer have the share, but I still owe it to the people that I borrowed it from. And so I'll have to give it back on the time that we agreed upon. And so for the sake of this experiment, let's say that I borrow that share at $10, I sell it straight away, now I have $10 in my pocket. If the share falls at $6, when I go and buy it back to give it back to the person that I borrowed it from, I will have made a $4 profit. If instead the price of that stock goes up, say, to $20 and I sold it at 10, then when I go and buy the stock back, instead of paying it 10, I will have to pay 20. And so I'll have to make up for the difference myself out of my own pocket. And so if the stock that I bought with the hope of short selling goes up by almost 20 times, like in the case of this story of GameStop, if you have a few millions invested in this operation, you will find yourself in a lot of trouble. What these large hedge funds are betting on is basically that the company GameStop will fail. Now, all of this started off of Reddit. A group of young investors noticed that a company called Melvin Capital took an interest in short selling GameStop stocks. And so since the internet is a magical place, people got together in what is called a coordinated buying spree and forced the price of the stock up to 1800%. So that's almost 20 times the initial price. In other words, people who had the chance to invest as little as $1,000 were able to cash out more than $18,000. Now, is this wrong? Is the criticism from Wall Street towards these new smaller investors correct? Is it wrong to jack up the price of a stock and screw with these big hedge funds? Before we make a decision about this, let's just take in consideration the fact that these guys are the same ones who have created the financial bubble of 2008 and have basically destroyed the global market. Capitalism always claims victims, and these victims are usually the people who own nothing, people who are poor, people who struggle the most, the hardworking people, those who live paycheck to paycheck. So in a way, this feels to me like a revenge that, as wrong as it might sound, feels good to have, because for once, it is those who have less who are making money at the expenses of those who basically own everything. Try to understand that the victims, the owners of these hedge funds, are billionaires. They're basically the 1% that everybody seems to hate. And I know that these people are going to lose their boats and maybe their Ferraris. It is tragic, but c'est la vie. And so what's the takeaway from this video? Well, the first thing to acknowledge is the fact that this proves that the establishment can actually be challenged, and that basically knowledge is a weapon. Knowing what is going around you, understanding the culture around you, it empowers you to act in the correct way. With the right information and the right understanding, the proper education, you can basically fight back. Of course, it also helps finding yourself at the right place at the right time. A few other things which are a pleasant side effect of this whole GameStop frenzy. One, the memes. Of course, the internet went crazy. I mean, for the past 48 hours, all I could find on the internet, on my Facebook feed, on my Instagram, were memes that were just really funny. These are memes that might not make a lot of sense, but if you do know the story, they're really funny. The other one is Beeple. Beeple, our favorite artist, who made an artwork which really speaks to the situation and kind of makes you once again think about how unfair our society can be. This is the Monopoly guy throwing the little Reddit avatar into the fire, and this is because now that Wall Street got screwed by a bunch of nobodies, now Wall Street is asking for regulations and for people on the internet to be banned when they talk about things like trading, which to me is just another sign that basically when the rich get hurt, things seem to be unfair, but when that happens to the poor, nobody cares. Anyway, personally, I'm happy that this is happening, and if you're one of them who gained something out of investing in GameStop and you were in a position that you needed the money, then I'm really happy for you, and I'm glad that for once life gave you a break. Now, if you made it this far into this video, thanks a lot for watching. Maybe leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if this is your first time, and I don't know, I'll see you next time. Alright, you have an amazing one, see you guys soon.